What's up? Welcome into your Daily Buckeye Blitz for a Wednesday, the hump day. Welcome in, everybody. I appreciate you joining me. I sincerely do. It's October 11th, 2023, 10/11/23. Today we're doing Ryan Day's press conference highlights. Hey, don't forget, hit thebuckeyecast.com. Still got the site-wide sale going on. We're going to keep that train a-rolling. I do think you might want to look at picking up your We Hate Penn State shirts, your Beat Michigan shirts, your Beat Sparty shirts. You might want to get those, order those now. You got Penn State, a week and a half away. Got to get those orders in. If you wait till the last minute, they might not be able to get them to you in time for the game. So keep that in mind. So check out the buckeyecast.com and just do a quick search in the search bar at the top for Penn State or Sparty, Michigan, whatever. Anyway, all right. So let's talk some Ryan Day press conference highlights. So first one here. Obviously, the focus of this press conference was O-line, running game, shit like that. So let's start off with the issues of running the ball. Okay. Zoom in, and here we go.
Yeah, watch the film, and I think we have the personnel to do it. When you look at the some of the plays that we ran, I think there was probably one play that schematically I felt like we were going uphill. I think for the most part, the schemes we ran, there was really pretty good looks. Now there was an extra guy there, a lot, especially when we had two tight ends in the game, and that opened up some things in the pass game, which was good. But we just got to execute it better. We got to coach it better. That starts with me, and we got to figure out a way, whether we're doing too much, too little, whatever that is. But I felt like the scheme and what we were doing was very sound, and I think we have the right guys. So what does that come down to? We got to coach it better.
Okay, so he's putting the onus on the coaches. There was an extra guy down in the box against Maryland. He pointed that out. So scheme, execution, players, just got to coach it up, I guess. So let's talk about, has Ryan Day made any adjustments to his offensive philosophy?
No. I mean, I don't think philosophically we've changed anything. We know that, some of the teams that have slowed down, that has changed a little bit in terms of how we've approached our game planning. But other than that, no. I mean, you try to find the right things that fit the guys that you have at the time, knowing that, especially when you get in November or October and November, you're going to get some bad weather days. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to run the ball in the red zone. You got to be able to convert on short yardage, all those types of things. So that has to be part of your game. And that hasn't really changed. We're going to continue to work towards that, but also be explosive as we possibly can on offense.
All right. So be as explosive as you possibly can, but still the same philosophy. No changes there. Let's talk about maintaining focus during October and November. How do you maintain that over this long stretch of games in a row?
Yeah, we call it the competitive stamina, and we still do. We still talk about that, bringing it every week, and it's something that comes up this time of year because of exactly what you're saying. And it's not about the team we're playing; it's always about us. But we're just in a constant grind to get better and to improve in all these different areas. And we know, our first goal was to win the first game, then win the next 10 and then win the rivalry game. And, we have these goals. And so we knew this was going to be a long stretch. We talked about it during the bye week, and you got to bring it every week. That's, part of the deal. When you come to Ohio State, you're not allowed to have a bad day.
That's very true. So any updates on Emeka Egbuka's status for this week?
No, not right now. One thing I can tell you is that it's not going to be a long-term issue. We'll probably have a better idea how he's doing later in the week, but good news was it's not a long-term issue, and we'll kind of reevaluate as the week goes on.
Let's go back to the running game.
No, I think we can do a better job of getting movement up front. I think we can do a better job of getting to the second level and getting the running backs there. I think the running backs can do a better job of seeing it. So it's a little bit here, a little bit there. And I'm not just going to sit here and tell you it's one or two things. And so we're just going to keep swinging at it. And that's kind of sometimes how the run game goes. You got to keep working to get better at it. And that's not going to be any different this week. Again, we'll see as the week goes on, how that shakes. But I thought he ran hard when he had his opportunity in the game on Saturday.
So that was on Mayan Williams. So let's talk about some specific schemes like stretch run issues that we all love so much, right into the freaking boundary. Let's talk about that.
No, it's a great question. It's a constant conversation. You can imagine it was brought up again this week, and trying to identify exactly that. Schematically, you're trying to figure out what your guys can do well, and then does it fit your backs? Does it fit your line? Does it fit your quarterback? Trying to find the right angles. And the one thing about the stretch play is it gets people out in space. It's not just a bunch of guys in a small area. And when you're in the pistol, you don't give away, running one way or another. You can get downhill. There's a lot of positives to it, but you're right. I mean, we're looking at all those things and trying to make sure that we can find the right mixture for these guys.
All right. So what's up with Dallin Hayden?
Yeah, we talked about it in the preseason going into the season, and what we didn't want to do is put down in a situation where with three running backs, we were going to use up a year of eligibility for him. Now he's ready to go, he's practicing, and if appropriate, we'll put him in the game. But we also don't want to have him play in 5 or 6 games without getting a bunch of work in. We just don't think that that's the right thing to do for Dallin. But Dallin's ready to go. Dallin was great about it. And, if it's appropriate, he will go in because he still has 4 games to play. And then we wouldn't, burn a whole year of eligibility with Dallin as we look into the future, because we do think he's great. I think he's a really good player. We have 3 guys already there. So that's kind of the conversation that we had. And he was great. He's working hard. And we'll definitely consider that as we move forward.
A lot of compliments there for Dallin. You can see they definitely don't want him to transfer. So, lots of praise heaped upon Dallin Hayden, which is well earned. All right, next up, what about the leadership on this team?
We do have good leadership. We have several guys in the team that have embraced that role, and when challenged, they've responded well to that. Whether it's guys who like to speak up or guys that maybe haven't spoken up in the past, they bring a calming presence to the team, which is important, especially when guys have been in these types of situations before. It's not all new. And again, I think that's going to pay off here, the next couple months.
All right, let's talk about tight ends and the big man, Cade Stover.
Well, the first is he takes a lot of snaps. He does a lot of the dirty work. He blocks, and because of that, he creates pass and run conflicts. And that isn't always the case when you're with 3 receivers in the game. When you start to get into 2 tight ends, we don't really run as many 3 tight ends. But in those type of personnel groupings, you can create a lot of pass and run conflicts on linebackers, on safeties. And I think that's what you're seeing with Cade. Now, he's also run some really nice routes out in the open, just drop back pass. But I think you're seeing some of the play action open up because of, some of his dirty work.
Okay, getting the dirty work done. I love that movie. Was that an old Charlie Sheen movie from the 80s? Dirty Work with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. They were garbage men and brothers, by the way, in real life. Anyway, next up, production on first down.
It's huge. We got to get at least 4 yards. If you get more than that, then certainly things open up more, and you're setting things up better. So it's a huge part of the offense and how we call it and how we do it.
All right, so it's huge. All right, let's talk about special teams. What's up with that botched snap?
No, I just asked what happened, and then the ball slipped. So, yeah, I was as surprised as anybody. So that can't happen again.
No, it cannot happen. Continuing on special teams, a little more elaboration there.
That's the life of a long snapper, a punter, and a field goal kicker. We call it one shot, one kill, like a sniper. I mean, you don't have an opportunity to be wrong. And so, I think those guys understand that, and they'll work hard to get that fixed.
Yeah, I hope so. Insert Parker Fleming jokes here. All right. Let's talk about the importance of running the ball and not just relying on the pass.
I think it all goes together. I think at the end of the day, you have to move the ball. That's the bottom line. But like you said, there's going to be games here coming up that it's going to be raining, it's going to be windy, and you're not going to have an opportunity to just line up in 4 and 5 wides and throw it all over the yard. So, the other thing is, this year when you're playing, you have a good defense and a young quarterback, you're maybe less likely to take as many chances early on. But then there comes a time where you can't beat your head against the wall either. So finding that rhythm is what's important, because the number one goal is to win games, and but we got to keep building. We got to keep getting better. And we got to keep pushing the envelope in all areas, because we want to have that balance, and we know that we're going to need both sides of the offense, both running and passing.
All right, so got to maintain that balance, especially in the Big Ten in October, November. All right, so let's talk about red zone issues.
When I look at that, the one drive there, we called the screen there. We knew we were getting zero coverage, and the 3 technique or 4-eye didn't quite rush the way we thought he would, and he ended up right in the passing lane. And so Kyle did a nice job of ditching the ball, even though he got an intentional grounding. He didn't put the ball in harm's way. So that one hurt us. And then we went down on the next drive, called the play action pass. The safety didn't come down the way that maybe we thought he would have after we ran the other play. And Kyle did a good job of throwing that away. We didn't get what we wanted on the power play. Just didn't get enough movement up front. Didn't quite hit it the maybe we wanted to hit it, to at least create a situation where it could have been a 2-down situation. And then we tried the throwback to Cade and got too much penetration up front. So, I can kind of go through every play and recognize the areas, but it comes down to execution at the end of the day.
All right. So that's kind of putting it back on the players when you say execution. All right. Earlier he said coaching it harder. How about second team offensive linemen? Can any of those guys push for some starter snaps?
Yeah, well, we looked hard at it. I just don't see any of those guys right now pushing. I'd like to see that, but don't see them like pushing on the door enough to say, someone deserves 20, 30 snaps in a game just yet. But there's still a lot of football left to play, and it's feel free to make a push. We want that in practice.
So doors open for anybody on the second team that wants a snap. So let's talk about some specific O-line issues.
Yeah, I think when I always say execution fuels emotion, I think when we are executing, you see that emotion come into play, and I think that's a huge part of it. So, I don't think they're not playing hard. I don't see that part of it. I think they're working to play hard. They're working to play physical, and there's certain areas like hand placement, pad level, identification of things that we can all improve on. But it's not just the offensive line either. I think the running backs have to take some responsibility. The quarterback's got to take some responsibility. The wide receivers, the tight end. I mean, everyone's got to do their part here.
So a little deflecting there at the end, but again, talking about specific things that the players need to do. So kind of I'm just pointing this stuff out because he says a lot of complimentary things, but then he goes back and says, very specific little details that the players need to work on, So let's talk about Josh Proctor.
Well, we're only 5 games in, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a guy who's been through a lot. You took Lathan and Josh both, broken legs and injuries and different things they've been through. But that's what makes life great. I mean, we all go through adversity in our life, and if you haven't, it's coming around the corner. And so that's what shapes your character and who you are, and that's the rewarding part of coaching, is to help young men work through the adversity, whether it's losing somebody in their life, injuries, struggling to get on the field, bad games, whatever those, they're struggling in academically, socially, mentally, physically, whatever the things are. And we've had all the above here.
All right. And then back to some specific run game issues. We've got a little bit more definition here, I guess, or at least some more comments.
I think that's hard for me to say because, I believe in our guys, and I think, they're plenty good enough to go win every game. So, I tell you if I didn't think so. And so then what we're going to do is just continue to grow to get better. I mean, there was a point where, Paris Johnson wasn't quite where he needed to be. He was in his sophomore year, he was at right guard, and then he moved over to tackle. And then as the season went on, he got better and better. So we're going to keep pushing these guys to get better and better because, like you said, the expectation is so high.
Actually, here's more run game issues, O-line issues.
And again, when you look at it and you say, it's personnel, it's coaching, or it's scheme, I mean, I'm very, very critical of that. There were a couple plays that we probably could have called in a different, and so that got us off schedule. But for the majority of them, I thought they were decent. I thought the angles and the leverage was decent on the plays. And then, look at the personnel, like, were we just getting flat out beat? I think we can do a better job with our hands. Yes. We need to do a better job with our pad level. Yes. But then just, between the line and the running back and just the overall execution, it wasn't there. So, I don't know if I have a word other than we're just going to keep swinging on this thing. And, it's one of those things where if you can solve it, it's going to be rewarding because, we're working so hard at it, but everybody's got to take responsibility.
All right. So finishing up here with what are you seeing from the Silver Bullet defense this year?
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell right now where we're at, but you're seeing some good play. You're seeing more experienced play. You're seeing guys who, are able to, take meetings to the field. They're able to get in and out of defenses pretty quickly. They're able to react faster. And probably the word that I like to use better is anticipation. They're able to anticipate things as opposed to reacting. We all know what that looks like. It's kind of hard to quite verbalize other than that, but you know when you see it. They're playing faster. They're seeing it. They're communicating well. But the challenge is going to be, can you bring it every week? Ultimately, you won't know the answer to that until the end of the season. So we got to do that again here at noon on Saturday.
All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed that time with me and Ryan Day. Sorry I couldn't give you more of my time, but hey, at least Ryan Day was here to prop me up. Anyways, appreciate you guys. We'll come at you with probably some Jim Knowles comments tomorrow. How's that sound? All right, I'll pull out some good clips from him. That's it. Talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.